Hey folks, today we got a new patch for Crusader Kings 3. This is our largest patch since All Under Heaven was released, and it includes some balance changes, some stability improvements, and also some free content as well. They do mention here your previous save should work, so if you are in the middle of a campaign, you should see your saves work as normal. But as always, it is a game update, so sometimes that isn't always necessarily true. But let's get into the actual changes themselves. This is game update 1.18.1, and there is a whole bunch of changes in this. Probably one of the biggest standalone patches we've seen for the game. Obviously outside of expansions and things like that, this is just a standalone fix patch, and there is a lot to cover. I'm not going to cover everything in here, as you'll see, especially for the bug fixes. An awful lot of changes. As always, I will leave a link to this in the description down below, so you can go check it out in your own time as well. But let's get into the bug fixes. So the first one I'm going to call out is Empire titles not part of a hegemony can now de jure drift into a bordering hegemony. So that means obviously empires that are not part of the current hegemonies in the game can get drawn into them, and that does help you with opinion and things like that, and that can help you, so nice to see that addition to the game. The next change, nomads migrating to a country will now correctly evaluate the opponent. It looks like previously they weren't taking the top legion into account when they were doing this, so they were attacking realms they had no chance of winning, and as they say here, this should prevent some suicidal migrations, so that will be a good change to see in your games. And then as you can see all the way through here, these are more bug fixes. As I said, probably one of the biggest bug fix patches we've ever seen, and it's still going. It's still going. I'm going to stop when I hit a really important bug fix, and you can see that one coming up. Here it is. Fixed it so horse ears do not peek out of activity windows in certain camera angles. This is fixing something that always gave us a bit of a chuckle in the live streams that I do. I stream twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, and every time we saw this with a horse ears sticking out the frame, I don't know, it just looks silly, and it looks like they finally fixed that. Kind of funny it got called out in its own patch note, and as you can see scrolling through there, a whole bunch of changes here. Most of this is bug fixing. Some of it is correcting things that I didn't necessarily think would have been bugs, but they have been changed. So as I said, you should see some improvements in your campaigns. But on to the next section, that is game content. Unlock coronations for independent celestial rulers. I hadn't actually encountered this, but I guess previously you weren't able to. The next change is really cool though. Genghis, or the greatest of Khan's special armies, will now feature new All Under Heaven men-at-arms when appropriate. So I guess when they do spawn and start happening, if they have taken lands in the All Under Heaven content, you'll now get special units from those areas as well. A very cool update here. That's going to make it a little bit more flavorful, especially if they've headed east and taken some of China maybe. You're going to get those China men-at-arms as part of the Khan's army, which is really cool to see. Now, one thing linked to this that isn't in the patch notes that hopefully we do see fixed, or maybe was fixed as part of this, you may have noticed this in your campaigns, is that realms won't take any additional men-at-arms if they don't have them at the start of the game. So that means, say you're attacking Lotharingia at the start of the game, if they only had light footmen and archers, they're the only men-at-arms they'd ever get in the entirety of your campaigns. They'd never branch out and get anything else. So hopefully that has been fixed, because especially for larger realms, it really limits how powerful they can get, and it is a detriment to realms that start with more men-at-arms. They have that bigger base, and then the other realms never expand to overtake them. So anyway, hopefully we do see that improved as well. And then as you can see, a bunch more game content. Some of this was mentioned in last week's Dev Diary coverage. They've added some new artifacts for the Chinese court, and also changed how the Chinese court looks. And as you can see mentioned here, they have added those artifacts into the pool so you can pick them up in your adventures. And then further down in this, added 10 new hunt events for East Asian realms. A fantastic addition, something we always talk about on the channel. They really need to go back and add events to all these different activities. Also court events, please, Paradox. Just get us some more court events. I don't mind if it's part of the event pack next year. I just need some new content for some of the older DLC. I don't know if you're like me, guys. I kind of thought we'd get like court events. We get new landless events to do, new quests to go on as your landless characters. But we haven't really seen anything added to any of those DLCs ever since they came out. Yes, we've had little bits here and there, and obviously as a landless administrator or even a governor, there has been events. But going back to the landless content we already have elsewhere in the game, it would be nice if Paradox came in and even added something as small as like 5 or 10 events with each expansion that go back to the old DLC and just add further and further content to them. So it is nice to see them adding more hunt events. Hopefully we get some more in the future as well. The other two I want to call out here was something again from last week's video, and that is that they're adding 2 new decisions. One of them around founding the Rurikhan Empire, and the other one around making the Siam Kingdom as well. It looked like they'd be really fun campaigns to do, so hopefully you'll give both of those decisions a try. I think they will make fun campaigns. The next section we're going to cover is additional art changes that they've made. And the first section you can see new character assets for Southeast Asia. They showed this off last week, the new headgears, new clothing, and the new hairstyles you can get. They've also added to the game a new Japanese face mask. Again, that looks really cool. And then on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, with the new artifacts, they've changed how the Chinese court looks. They've added candles, carpets, updated the tent, pillars, drapes, and also the lighting of that room as well. So next time you get into the game, if you're playing in China, you'll see your throne room looking that little bit better. And then the other thing I wanted to call out here, because this is game-wide, is adding new brow furrows, eye wrinkles, forehead wrinkles, body hair type, and boldness to the ruler designer. So just making it so you can specialize your ruler that little bit more. So a bunch of new options if you are designing a custom character. And then you can see again a bunch more additions and fixes to the game as well. The next section is going to be game balance, slightly rebalanced, new men-at-arms types introduced with All Under Heaven. So from what I could see in game, this hasn't changed anything too crazy. As they say here, slightly rebalanced them. Now look, they're obviously way more power than Nomad men-at-arms, so these needed to be nerfed. Nomad men-at-arms, they're perfectly fine. Don't go near them. They're the most balanced units in the game. But as you can see as well, on top of this, a bunch of other fixes as well. These are just minor changes though, nothing too crazy. Although you can see one change here, improve the overall AI acceptance when attempting to negotiate release of a character. Characters will generally be very reluctant to accept anything that includes blinding, disfigurement, or castration. Only in rare circumstances will they accept it. So I guess this was just happening way too often. I guess they were saying, do you know what, let me out, and yes, you can disfigure me on the way out. They were doing that a little bit too happily, and that is going to be changed with this patch. And then as I said, there's a bunch more fixes here. You can see them in the link down below. And then next is interface changes. Added a graphical element to show whether a character is at home or not, both in the HUD system and the character screen as well. This again is a fantastic change, something that's not going to be super obvious all the time. But there's so many times where I'm looking maybe to go pay homage or something, and I'm trying to see why I can't do it. I would immediately be able to see my liege has gone out somewhere, and then I've got to wait for him to come back, and then I can go pay homage to him. So this is a great small change. They also did add it so you can see house relations in the UI a lot easier. So again, these minor changes, they're going to help you just at a glance see things in the game, and they are always good changes to see. And again, a bunch more changes here for the interface. Just correcting some issues since All Under Heaven, and also changing the layout of some screens as well. The next section is localization. I won't go through this, obviously, just making sure things are correct in localization. So if you are playing it not in English, you should see some improvements as well on this front. Next is user modding. We'll just go straight past that. As I always say, I play great mods. I have no idea how to mod things. And then the last section here is database changes. This is mainly where they've got feedback from people playing the game, saying places are in the wrong place, people are the wrong dynasty, that dynasty didn't follow this religion, and then they go through, confirm those issues, and then make those changes as well. But as I said, these are the patch changes today. I've only called out a few things, as you saw through this. A really big list of changes here. Fantastic to see this happening. It is the second week of November, so I imagine we've got like 4 or 5 weeks left before the studio go out on their Christmas vacation. So hopefully we see some further improvements. If you're still seeing performance issues after this patch, hopefully you'll see some improvement in that as well. And maybe we'll get some more free content as well. Come on, give us some more court events. You know you want to Paradox. But let me know in the comments down below, is there anything you haven't seen here that you wish had been changed? And are you seeing improvements to the game if you are playing it after this patch has come out? From what I've seen, it's not made any different to me. I think the game's running very well, at least on my machine, obviously. Some of you I know are not having good performance with the game, so hopefully you do see that improvement, and let me know if there's anything that really stood out for you in this patch that maybe I've missed. But we'll leave it there for today. As always, hit the like button if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I cover all the news around Crusader Kings, and I do live streams every Tuesday and Friday doing achievement runs and really talking about the game, answering questions in chat, all that good stuff. So if you haven't been to one, do try and attend if you're able to. We have a good time in those live streams. And also on top of that, I am covering EU5 in a very similar way. So if you like that game, you like my coverage on Crusader Kings, do give the channel a subscribe. But we'll leave it there for today, and I'll see you all next time.